Thank you so much, guys, for coming to Rogue Entertainment. I wanted to give a warning that to anyone, this is a narcissistic abuse recovery and awareness channel. So if any of you are in the process of healing, if you are still traumatized, you're still being stalked, hoovered, going through the motions, this episode may have triggering content. This episode is not intended for you or anyone under the age of 18. Give you a moment to turn the show off if I can't even speak. All right, and thank you very much. Immortal Coil, if you would.
Yes, this is the throat of Immortal Coil. This is your notice that the channel contains strong language, sensitive subject matter, images, and content intended for a mature 18 years or older audience. Viewer discretion is advised. This video contains copywritten content. However, under the Fair Use Act, Section 504C2, Title 17 of the United States Code, this content is presented for the purposes of education and entertainment with the use of parody, satire, critique, analysis, and/or social commentary by means of subjective opinion. Consider yourself warned.
What lies beneath your feet? Sacred grounds, watered with tears of blood. Shall we begin? Shall we begin? Shall we begin?
It's funny, you open up Beyonce's internet, it just gets weird.
Beyonce's internet.
That's what we're calling
that
it.
That belongs to the devil. Calling that the devil. She ain't nothing but an employee.
Oh.
Half of which dumbass bitch. Nobody want to accept that bitch.
I think
she went and killed the girl Cats. A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was drugged. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her and while she was asleep. Snacking on his bitch. Killing people, Cats. They wouldn't give her the restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too. Which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician and she was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington, Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band, which was Matthew Knowles' idea because he couldn't get Beyonce to stop people. Guess you didn't know your daughter well enough because she just started all the girls. Impulse control issues? I don't know.
And I'm sure that's probably not public information yet, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo Dicaprio. Earlier this month, Hurricanes Helene and Milton devastated parts of Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. Families lost homes, livelihoods, and loved ones to some of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes ever recorded. These storms have done an estimated $100 billion in damage, and make no mistake, these unnatural disasters were caused by climate change. Donald Trump continues to deny the facts. He continues to deny the science. That's why I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
And I'm sure that's probably not public information yet, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Dear Kamala Harris, let's get one thing crystal clear. The vast majority of American men have no issue with electing a female president. Our issue lies solely with you. You were second in charge of California for 13 years.
As California's Attorney General, Harris promoted enforcement of a law that allowed prosecutors to seek jail time for parents of truant kids.
As a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
I thought that was crazy. I was like, how can you lock parents up?
If you don't go to school, Kamala's going to put you and me in jail. Yes, we achieved intended effect.
I opened the door and I see at least 7 or 8 cops like wanted to arrest me. As a matter of fact, they did.
And frankly, you know the prosecutors in my office who volunteered to do this? My homicide prosecutors, my gang prosecutors. And they went over there and I said, when you go over there, look really mean.
She had me arrested and prosecuted because my handicapped daughter was sick in the hospital and had missed some days of school.
I learned that with the swipe of my pen, I could charge someone with the lowest level offense. That person could be arrested. They could lose time from work and their family maybe lose their job. They'd have to come out of their own pocket to help hire a lawyer. They'd lose standing in their community.
I lost my job and couldn't pay rent, and we got evicted.
Weeks later, I could dismiss the charges, but their life would forever be changed.
I became homeless. We had to move into a motel.
All because of the swipe of my pen.
I don't agree what Kamala Harris did to my mom, and I don't agree with what she's done to other parents as well.
You were second in charge of the United States for 4 years.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Inflation is hitting the highest level in 39 years. A record high number of illegal crossings.
Crime's been surging across the nation.
Huge spikes in homicides.
Could we be heading toward World War III?
After 17 years of failed leadership, you are now asking us to trust you as first in charge of our country.
I am concerned and focused on big issues. Elementary and middle school truancy is actually a big issue. If we're trying to save the state money.
Because of truancy, California public schools lose $1.4 billion a year in funding.
I want money.
My message to all Americans, do not trust Kamala Harris.
As men and protectors of women and children, you are simply a risk we are not willing to take.
Paid for by Maha Alliance and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Yo, listen to this. Anyone homeschooling their kids?
And I will deliver universal school choice, empowering every parent to send their child to the public, private, charter, or religious school that is right for them.
Listen.
And I will allow homeschool parents to spend $10,000 a year tax-free on costs associated with their children's education.
Let's go!
Tells me he can get me out of this mess, but he's pretty sure you're fucked.
And welcome to Rogue Entertainment, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate everybody watching on X and the Dragonstorm community here on YouTube. Thank you very much. With me is the wonderful, the sexy, the beautiful Ryan Roger Athey. What's up, Ryan?
Well, hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Let me just increase my brightness so you can actually see me. I'm not an avatar. I'm not a construct. I'm here. I'm not queer. And we're going to steer into quite a few topics of the day, folks. Everything is ratcheting up. I think the tide has turned. We've had our Stalingrad moment. We have had our Kursk moment. I'm just waiting for Camel Toe and all of her little demons to have their Battle of Berlin moment. So, my goodness, Stephen, and I thought I was the one with the coughing fits.
I know.
If I do sound a bit different, folks, it's because I have a tickly cough and I'm trying to fight it. The seasons have changed, but I will prevail against it. Now back to Stephen.
Thank you so much. Good to have you here, buddy. Also with me this week is immortal mother effing Coil. What's going on, brother?
What is happening, my savage friends, survivors, thrivers, Dragon Core? It's good to see you, Ryan. I'm looking forward to hearing the perspective of somebody from outside the country.
Well, I am likewise, but I'm having trouble hearing you.
I turned up your mic settings.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's fine.
I'm basically running off of like a duct tape and bubble gum, all that kind of shit. But I want to say, yeah. So I want to say hail to the chat. It's always good to see you guys. We got a very good show for you today. Steven's put together a lot of really insightful clips that we're going to be running commentary, and then of course chat Q&A at the end. Looking forward to it, buddy. Yeah, we're going to go through about a good 15 minutes before Ryan has to head off to Hypnotic Stream, and then it's going to be you and I, Coil. So we're going to go through camel toe stuff with Ryan because he loves Kamala Harris. I think he's a secret supporter of Kamala Harris, and so yeah. Well, she's used that to her effect.
I'd rather, if there was a choice between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I would have picked Joe Biden.
I thought you were going to say the cyanide pill.
No, that's one choice I will never make. I'm a fight till the end kind of guy, but I ain't the one gonna fulfill that end. I'll tell you.
One point in case, Joe Biden did win the Democratic primary, and then they just yeeted him and just threw Kamala Harris out, and suddenly she's tits.
Well, she has been, and but she cannot use. Unfortunately, for this election, she can't use her usual steps in order to gain power because there's no one above that station technically to kneel for. So it is what it is, and now she's pulled out of the woodwork. The Hollywood, of course, good old Hollywood, the monicum of virtue that they are, as they have been telling us for decades how awful we are, how terrible we are, how these privileged millionaires are just, their morality is off the charts. It's better than all of ours. Well, they're hanging out at P Diddy parties and eating people's cats, and
it's like they're all written down in the same book.
It's almost like the devil has a certain crew, a certain type, and just collects them. It's like darkness, evil, whatever you want to call it. Just has a certain type of people that they like, and it just feeds them money and lets them throw baby oil on them and grape them and do whatever they want.
Is baby oil made out of babies, or is it made out of oil?
Considering the doctors Kamala had on stage, which we don't know if they're paid actors yet or not, who knows? But the oil that was used at Diddys had some interesting chemicals that were put into it. That was actually a drug. Forgive me, I can't remember off the top of my head. I just had it in my head earlier. But it's a chemical that is used to create a euphoric feeling and make someone sexually pliable. So that is the fluid or the liquid that he had. Tons of that shit at his house. He would spray on victims and make them sedated and happy, and then they would get grapes.
Cosby then, yeah.
Yeah, Cosby blew the shit out of them. Real quick before we go through, I want to say thank you to everybody who watches these later. I have a lot of views that come through this show later on. If you guys enjoy this, please hit the like or dislike button. If you're a hater, flying monkey, I appreciate y'all too. And all the fast. And I want to thank them, of course, my most loyal fan base, all of the haters and narcissists and psychos out there who have been coming at all my channels. I have never seen such growth in recent months than I have in the last couple of weeks. So thank you for those smear campaigns and keep them up. Appreciate you.
Stephen, how long before they call you and all narc abuse and awareness creators racists for using the term flying monkey?
We'll find out anything that they can use, anything a narc can use. The problem is they're not very smart. They lack emotional intelligence. So they really only mirror you back. So like I'm the narcissist, or someone else. The person they abuse is the narcissist. They don't have a wide berth of things to use, to think about. The only thing wide on a male narc is their asshole. That's it. And that's because they like things up there, So just understand, right? The kind of content this is the stuff that we have to put up with. People who do narc abuse and awareness content have to understand that at some point there is a male narc out there hating on you, probably a bat wolf, hating on you and putting something up their ass, maybe a finger, maybe just jostling something up there and going, I hate Walton, I hate Dragonstorm. That's what they do. And you have to understand that is a thing. And, appreciate your most faithful and loyal cheerleaders. That is what you do.
Racist and homophobe. He uses the term flying monkey, and he calls male narcissists homosexuals.
Well, not homo. They're trisexual. When you're a narcissist, any supply is supply, bro.
So they fuck tricycles.
Anything. If they can triangulate that tricycle in a lawn chair, they'll do it. All right. If they will absolutely do it. Before we get further in, I want to say thank you and hello to Don't Be a Spanner. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for being here, Papa Cotton or Cotton Ministries in the chat. There's a famous swipe my pen speech, tells everything you need to know about this. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight. Thank you to everybody who's here. Thank you to everybody lurking, likers and haters alike. And if you are watching this later, please leave a comment on the show. Let us know what you liked, if you enjoyed our content. And guys, please subscribe to Ryan Roger Athey and Immortal Coil, two excellent creators.
It's good to know you still don't know how to pronounce my name.
Am I still fucking it up? All right, tell me.
Ryan Roger Athey.
Athey. I'm sorry. Athey.
You triggered me. You've exposed me. If you wanna praise me or condemn me, at least get my fucking name right.
Ryan Roger asshole.
You hear that?
We love you, buddy.
So I wanted to go over. We showed a clip from Jaguar Wright earlier, whom I go to quite often because she's kind of been spilling the tea, and some people think that she might actually be a Fed informant at this point because he was on a TV show. Oh, I gotta find the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. Fucking Jeremy was just on there. What's that show? What's the
Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Piers Morgan. Thank you. She was on Piers Morgan and said her piece, and she hasn't been hit with a gag order. But Piers Morgan was threatened by Jay-Z and Beyonce for being on there. So we see the system beginning to use itself and protect itself in order to silence anyone who speaks against people on this caliber of evil. Beyonce recently came out supporting Kamala Harris, so we're going to go over the people that the usual suspects who come out of Hollywood or the music industry or popular culture and need to tell you about yourself and endorse those who birds of a feather, endorse others who are like themselves, have the same thought process themselves, these privileged millionaires who can quite easily, these psychos and narcissists, who can quite easily smear campaign you, go after your character, isolate you from being able to work. So we're going to go back and talk about this topic here. Beyonce's ex-drummer accused her of using witchcraft to murder her pet kitten. This article doesn't have everything that Jaguar was talking about, but we're going to go over. We're going to go over this and just talk a little bit about this Kamala Harris supporter. There's no shortage of people who consider Bay once to be absolutely spellbinding, but this week one of them took that opinion to a whole new level, a very literal level. On Thursday, the blast shared that it had obtained court documents in which Beyonce's former drummer Kimberly Thompson reportedly accused Bay once of subjecting her to dark magic, extreme witchcraft, and even magical spells of sexual molestation. Of course, of the 7 years that she worked with her, a period of time from which her point of view was very essentially a campaign of harassment. Now, for those of you out there that watch my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube content, I do talk about the dark spirit, the demon spirit, narcissistic, toxic people, psychopaths, these cluster bees, absolutely use and employ dark psychology, which is a form of black magic. Anyone who tries to change your outlook by gaslighting you, by lying to you, anyone who abuses you and then reverses that role, and anyone especially who uses dark psychology on others in order to smear campaign, isolate, distort your public image, is employing black magic. I'm a witch. I should know. These things are dark in nature. I'm
female.
Well, which is, you can do male or female.
Well, if you scroll up to the top, in regards to the headline, the accusation of using witchcraft to murder her pet kitten, I guess Trump was right when he said they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
Yeah, low vibrational people eat anything. Anyone. What about that chick? What was that chick out in Kentucky? There was a woman out there who was just arrested in the last couple of weeks for cutting up, was it her mother or another woman? And then like they found pieces of her boiling in pots.
Yep.
Yeah, storing body parts. Like these are low vibrational people. If you guys think that darkness, evil doesn't exist, doesn't matter what you call it, Lucifer, Satan, the devil, like however you put
Beyonce?
Beyonce. Evil absolutely exists. We see this in the child trafficking that has been going on for many, 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 many years, decades even. We see it in the sexual predators like P Diddy and the people who partied with him, and it's not just limited to them. I mean, Trump 2024, guys. Let's get the Epstein client list out. Let's get the Guantanamo Maxwell trials released, transcripts released. Let's start going after the actual evil in this world. They're all narcissistic in nature.
Remember what Elon said? He said a lot of the billionaires and blah, 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 they're scared of a Trump presidency because that's exactly what he's going to do. And then all these celebrity endorsees, that's a good baseball card pack of people who keep under the microscope on it.
Absolutely. I'd like to go over like this next, I'm sorry, yes, absolutely, Immortal Coil. The complete list of toxic complaints, which includes loss of many jobs, theft of homes, and magic spells on my lovers, have placed blame on Blay for numerous broken relationships. And if that isn't dark enough, Thompson also went so far as to allege that on top of all that, Beyonce is responsible for murdering her pet kitten. Allegedly, in those transcripts, I wish I had them, I could not find them, allegedly was devouring one. I would like to say that as a person who is a practitioner of the craft, that you can put a root, you can put the evil eye, you can put spells on people that will cause losses of all these types. Absolutely. And when you're talking about narcissism, you're talking about the demon spirit of narcissism. If you are consistently thinking about somebody, lying about them, hating on them, and you do not have the proper protections, or that other person does not have the proper protections, it absolutely can cast on them. That is the evil eye. Manic. When you spellcast, when I spellcast, I am manic. I am constantly thinking, drawing energy in order to place it in the direction to which I want it to go.
And we know it. We know it happens though, Stephen, because there was that big uproar. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, about these group of witches who've been casting spells on President Trump, and it doesn't seem to have any effect on them. This isn't a joke, folks. This is a self-confessional. Groups of these people interacting with one another, whether or not you think they're crazy lunatics, that doesn't matter. From their perspective, they're doing this to him, and it's having no effect.
Yeah, well, matter of fact, Roger, Cotton, he was saying very much the same thing at about 24 after the hour.
Good.
Let me see. Let's see. I saw a story of Reddit witches being angry because their spells on Trump aren't working because he's got spiritual protection. Spiritual protection is a thing. And also, every single supporter out there who is praying for him, it doesn't matter what your belief system is. If you are praying with intent to protect a person, it is having an effect. It is working. Manifestation is real. You don't need an altar and candles. You don't need all of those props. They really are props, although I do believe in the finer elements of those things. But you don't need those props in order to manifest. And right now, we are literally watching a spiritual battle happen across the world. And this is why we are seeing the exposure of people like P. Diddy and these politicians and these actors, all of these hateful people who put on a false face, these narcissistic people who put up a false face, present themselves as something that they are not, will drone on to you about their virtues, shifting all blame of all evil upon you, the population, the plebs, the lessers, and then getting caught up in exposure. This is what we are seeing. This is a spiritual warfare. This is a spiritual battle.
I call our opposition the empire of lies, folks. It's a house of cards that relies on fear, it relies on scare tactics, and that's why we're seeing the destruction of our popular culture, especially in the Western world, because those stories were essentially stories from the perspectives of Westerners, especially Americans. I mean, the idea of the Star Wars original trilogy could be boiled down to the American Revolution, a rebellion against an empire.
Mm-hmm. Well said, Brian.
Savage question real fast. What are the
ahead,
chances of ballistic trajectory being altered, particularly on that first assassination attempt, or some non-physical hand just slightly turning the head so that it hit the ear?
If a person is listening to their spirit team, yes. If they are divinely protected, yes. Yeah. But it all comes down to the aim and concentration of the person firing the gun and their ability to manifest, as opposed to what they are aiming at. You cannot stop.
Well, you mentioned manifestation, Stephen. Had that head not turned, then a manifestation of evil would have emerged that would have been so massive, in my view, that it could have destroyed the entire world. I know Tim Pool always bangs his head against the wall regarding a civil war, folks, but considering Donald Trump has tens of millions of supporters, in the high tens of millions, and most of them are armed to the teeth, if he had gotten done in, a manifestation of, our darkest desires, they killed our leader, therefore revenge, could have easily spiraled to the point where the establishment got so terrified that they start just nuking cities. These are evil people, as you mentioned, Stephen, and if they're desperate enough and scared enough of losing their themselves and their power, they'll press that button.
And that's when it comes down to the majority of supporters. It's like an army of light. And the biggest difference between people who exist high vibrational in the light and people like the liars, the institution of lies, is that the same result that happened even after January 6th. That was the so-called quote unquote insurrection, where people assembled to challenge an election that had a lot of flaws, a lot of funny business that was going on around 2020. Those people did not rise up in revolt. Those people did not go on a killing spree. Whereas the people who support the Democrats, the people who support that empire of lies, what were they doing when Trump was in office during those first 4 years? Well, they were out there pillaging, killing, destroying neighborhoods. There is a clear and defined difference in the type of people that support these two sides at this time. And I believe in the uniparty. I mean, I think they're all backed by the same high level purse strings. But when it comes to this event with Donald Trump and what he is up against, it is like, and for lack of a better term, I don't even like saying this, but it's like a super empath versus the psychos and narcissists of the world. And the people that are behind him are ones who want to see real change. They are not emotionally deregulated. They are not going to go off on a revenge campaign. Now, at some point, angels have to fight. At some point, absolutely. But we will not sink to the levels of evil to which these people will go. We will not do that.
Well, just think of the situation in question when it happened, folks, in regards to the attempt. Had he had his brain blown out, JFK style, I think that would have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
It may have.
Without leadership, then if he could fall, everyone who supports him could fall. And that fear could have led to a national uprising, both at home and abroad, because a lot of military personnel, especially, support what he is doing, peace through strength, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. It is, well, there definitely would have been people who were so pissed off that a fight may have begun. But you also have to remember that the CIA, you have to remember that there are other factions within the government that create, their mission is to create chaos. It is to create destruction. And so there would have been, just like on January 6th, there would have been planted government workers in that crowd meant to stir up trouble in order to frame the event. We're talking about narcissistic people, psychopaths. We're talking about people who take a fact and frame it however they need to, or create a situation by traumatizing people in order to have them enact in ways that are low vibrational.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Problem, solution, reaction. It's textbook David Icke. I also like Joe Rogan's take on that. Yeah, I also like Joe Rogan's take on that, where he said that had the assassination attempt been successful, that would have then been a call to ban guns and to, crack down on political gatherings, blah, blah, blah.
Something like that.
Yeah, when you look at the typical perpetrator of these things, they're leftists who are on psychotropic drugs. You can see the crazy in their eyes. They usually end up getting killed. But yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself here.
No, you're fine, brother. With there's topics in there that I want to get to at some point. Not today, but yes, absolutely. You can see the difference. You can see the splitting in a lot of these celebrities, especially the ones who have been at the Moloch ceremonies, who have been involved in offing people and trafficking people, young people. You can see in their eyes. You can see the black in their eyes. You can see the change. You can see them split from the public persona to the real face. There are clips that expose that, and we're going to go into that in a future show. But going back to this real quick, I just want to touch on this for another moment. If Thompson has an idea of Beyonce's potential move, it has yet to be made public, which isn't exactly surprising, given that she also apparently believes that Beyonce is tapping her phones and controlling her finances. These are all narcissistic moves that would definitely take place. Still, even with the alleged kitten murder on the line, the judge denied Thompson's request for a temporary restraining order. While others have been equally dismissive of the idea that Beyonce, a loving mother of 3, who harbors affection for her mommy pouch. Let's also bring up that Beyonce was up there at the Kamala Harris campaign saying that we need to protect murdering children. This is a wonderful mother. We need to protect the ability for people to use abortion as birth control.
And a lot of people at that rally were pissed off, not at those comments, Stephen, but because she didn't perform. Most of those people who went there because they wanted to see at least a phoned-in performance by Beyonce, and the fact that she didn't should tell you just how rootless the opposition is in its gatherings, and how astroturfed it is, and likewise with reality-based, although in my case it's a much smaller scale. When you look at the ideas of MAGA, or more recently Maha, which is quite the term, they're universal ideas that can spread from country to country. I mean, nationalism at home and cooperation abroad, instead of, globalism at home and submission abroad.
Out of the trans fat chat, Papa Cotton, thank you very much. This is from RFK Jr. The Biden-Harris administration did something 2 weeks ago that has never been done in American history, which is to send a directive to the Pentagon, changing a law to make it legal for the U.S. military to use lethal force against American citizens on American soil. I do have a video on this that came from TikTok. Thank you for bringing that up, Papa. Yes. There is the military, the United States military at this point, if they chose to, could take control of we, the population.
Oh, yeah.
Could police us.
And for folks who are unaware, this is the standard among nations. I mean, the United States, along with a few other smaller countries, are the exception, or at least in the U.S. case, were the exception. Even to this day in the United Kingdom, if things get too out of control, of course, the military can step in to maintain law and order and to protect the existing system that is legitimized by elections and the monarch's assent or permission, which is always guaranteed in the vast majority of instances. But this is not a surprise to me, folks. I personally believe that the Biden-Harris administration wanted to do this before the assassination attempt, but they got delayed. So if Trump had got done in, if there had been like a grief-stricken uprising, it would have given the administration the excuse to pursue a national emergency and to begin a mass purge of all of their opposition, then have an election, all of this in the span of just a few months, and then win by a landslide, even with the electoral college system. I am talking getting Florida. I'm talking getting Texas, as well as the other places, by using a state of emergency as an excuse to purge opposition. Thankfully, that didn't happen.
That's a scary thought.
Right?
We are gonna do that Star Wars. We're gonna, guys. If you guys don't know, yeah, Coyle and I are gonna. We have to set down a time and go through it. But we're actually going to do the Star Wars trilogy as a look at the relationships between cluster Bs and empaths. We're looking forward to doing that, guys, and hope that you enjoy it. Real quick, I wanted to bring up. We were talking about Piers Morgan earlier. And so Jay-Z's lawyers give a legal ultimatum to Piers Morgan after a guest made Sean Diddy Combs comparison. After a guest, they didn't even say Jaguar right. A lawyer for Jay-Z sent an legal ultimatum to the talk show host Piers Morgan was necessary and prompted him to take the usual step of editing the interview with the guest who claimed the hip-hop mogul and his wife Beyonce. Beyonce are engaged in potentially criminal behavior in line with the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. Piers Morgan's irresponsible broadcast filled with lies is so far over the line that a legal ultimatum was warranted. Go and read this article. Please check out this event if you have not. It has weird narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths written all over it.
To give you an example, I mean, Piers Morgan has had quite the distinguished career, including allegations of his own in regards to when he led a certain British newspaper, and it was alleged that under his command, the phones of dead children were hacked just to get a good news story. And that was one of the reasons why he fled to the United States, to avoid any kind of investigation. That's why he was on CNN, ladies and gentlemen. Damn.
I'm glad you pointed that out, man. I was just about to ask how he was perceived back home, but you
when the situation had died down as the years passed, he decided to leave the United States and come back to the UK, learned his lessons from the US, and carved out quite the niche as being a very well-known talk show host. First on Good Morning Britain, got cancelled from that because of a controversial statement he made. Then he joined a more right-wing talk show, which was on television, and when it got taken off television because it wasn't getting too much viewership on TV, he decided to break away, formed Piers Morgan Uncensored, and he's now a content creator. I personally can't believe that. Someone of that record, yes, he is a prominent content creator, folks, but he is controversial, but a legitimate journalist with a record that's longer than I've been alive. And he is a prominent creator, but he's done it through the establishment way. He's like an establishment defector. I don't usually trust those types of people, and I have called Piers Morgan a snake in one of my videos. But you have to be a snake to thrive in establishment circles, especially back when newspaper media was the way to go. Kill or be killed. No wonder so many people in the system are such narco demons, because if they're not, they will get crucified by the system.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's another point that Trump made in the Joe Rogan podcast, is that he would have journalist friends call him up and say, look, they're offering me money to like shit on And Trump says, hey, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and make your money. It's just going to shine a different kind of light on you. And incidentally, my first exposure to Piers Morgan was on CNN because he was coming after our Second Amendment. And for me, it's like, this slimy motherfucker is coming over to my country and telling me what to do with my Second Amendment. Fuck you. That's why we shot people like you in the 70s.
Yes. Because back then, and even to this day, the UK still has the same principles when it comes to a national emergency as it did under the British Empire. If there is a state of emergency, if there's an uprising, and if the legitimate government is threatened, then lethal force is authorized. That's probably one of the few concepts that Britain has actually maintained throughout its existence. If you try to destroy us from within, then the system will try to bring you down. But thankfully that didn't happen in the US, although it was a very long conflict. 7 years in terms of full action, but 11 years total, because the last few years were like negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Coming up.
Show, man.
Dude. Oh yeah, this is good topics, guys. Thank you so much for all the comments. Thank everybody in the chat watching this. Please hit the like or dislike if you're a flying monkey. I appreciate that, or as narcissist yourself. And anybody that's watching this later, please remember to leave a comment. It helps the algorithm. Greatly appreciate you. We're getting a little bit of shadow banning, a little bit from the algorithm on YouTube, although it has not stopped the growth of Dragonstorm YouTube, and I greatly appreciate everyone who has been subscribed and is supporting this channel. We do not kneel.
Who came up with the term flying monkey, Steve?
I believe that was Vaknin. I think that was Sam Vaknin, but I'm not sure. He is a narcissist himself with borderline personality disorder and another condition. He's been speaking about NPD. He's a cerebral. He's a narcissist. He's also an author, a scholar, and an educator. And so through his own self-investigation, which piqued his interest, he began to learn more about himself and his condition. He's the person who brought the term narcissistic narcissistic abuse to us. And so of all the self-aware narcs out there, which are all just evil mask-wearing pieces of shit trying to keep people traumatized and put on a fake face and get supply off new people, hell, like Batwolf, I only trust Sam. I only trust Sam. Sam's the only one I trust. I don't trust any of the rest of them. I've had interactions with other self-aware narcissists and sociopaths, and they have all been deceptive, full of shit, gaslighting, harassing, and smear campaigning. So don't trust that. For my opinion, Dragonstorm says don't trust them.
Well, introspection is a good start, but I've found in regards to content creation, openness, honesty, and transparency is absolutely essential. And yes. Whenever you see a fine fellow creator who may have all the talent in the world not be open, not be honest, or not be transparent, or any of those, they are compromised either internally by their own heart or mind, or externally by other sources. Now I must cough.
Yeah, go ahead. The Queen is in the house. You all know what time it is. What's up, Nikki? Thank you so much for being here, sweetheart. We are going to go to the other person, the other celebrity who came out and celebrated Kamala Harris this week. And that would be Leonardo Dicaprio, who breaks his silence on hanging out with Sean Combs as a picture emerges of him at a notorious white party. Leonardo DiCaprio has distanced himself from Sean P. Diddy Combs after a picture of him at one of the music mogul's notorious white parties emerged. A source close to Hollywood actor 49 says he hasn't had anything to do with Diddy for years. Now, this is the thing, and I maintain this, guys. I maintain it. You can be fooled by someone for a time. You can be fooled by a group for a time. But eventually you hang around a crew long enough, you know they're full of shit. You know that what their dark secrets are. You know if they're good or bad people. You know who they are and what they're doing. And for years upon years, Leo was hanging out. So when all this, the graping and the trafficking and all this stuff was going on, another clear hint to me that he's full of shit is he's another one of these Hollywood actors who comes out and tells everybody about themselves every election season, or whenever there's some false flag, whenever there's some gender thing going on, whenever you need to confuse whenever you need to confuse your children, make them more accessible to perverts, whatever movement it may be. Male feminists, they're famous for that. That guys, being a male feminist is not going to get you laid. And they will come out and spout off the usual rhetoric. These privileged millionaires who know better than everybody else. And Leo's one of those. What gets me is that two people who are directly connected to the tapes that are being sold around to major news networks, the freak-off tapes, are coming out in support of Harris.
And it's obvious why. Just make the connections, folks. But we have to realize that what are the specialties of actors? It's to act. It's to perform. It's to convince. All actors, every single one of them, whether you like them for their work or you like them personally, their job description is to convince you they are something that they are not. That's why, unfortunately, you cannot trust an actor. You can interact with an actor, you can have good talks with an actor, but if you really want to embody the role of that profession, you've got to blur the line between reality and fiction, which is why I'm not in favor of that creative form. Personally, I think the best way we can create entertainment is to not be better, but to be yourself, ladies and gentlemen, and let the people decide. So in Leonardo DiCaprio's case, and I dare say in the case of all actors, they're liars.
They are. And it's a natural profession for people who live through deceit. Now, I'm not saying all actors are bad. There are some out there I hope are still like. I know that I've cut off a lot of movies and I don't watch anymore because of these filth bags that are in there. But I look at acting, politics, all right? These are things that you have to put on a fake face for. You got to go out there and baby kiss and bullshit and false promises. Everything that a narcissist does. This is a natural environment for narcissistic personalities, psychopathic personalities.
Right.
That's why pop culture is going down the tubes, ladies and gentlemen, because we're in a new century, new era, new entertainment. All we are witnessing is the last vestiges of an existing system. Things move on, things evolve, and the same is true of entertainment. And the present establishment thinks it can carry on forever, when nothing and no one lasts forever. Everything has its time, and everything fades away. The existing system has had a good run in its current form since the end of the Second World War. In its prior forms, at least since the times of the Age of Empire, the 18th, 19th century, that sort of thing. But it's had its time. We've got to move on now.
Well said, Ryan. It's time to put it away. It's time to put these evil people who have been in power, who have been influencing our children, influencing our entertainment, our pop culture, that are all deceptive, and they're being shown for who they are now. Like there's no more hiding. And this is another reason why I really want to see Trump in office. And look, guys, I'm not a Republican, right? I am not a Republican. I am not a conservative. But when I see evil, I know what evil is, and I know what good looks like.
Arguably, Stephen, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, Immortal. I'll just make this final piece, and then you're free to talk. Arguably, Donald Trump is the perfect embodiment of the existing system. I mean, he was born just after the second. Was he, or was it just before? He was born in the 40s, folks. Let's just say that. And he was born and bred in an age where America was number one of two superpowers that were the complete opposite. And he embodied the mindset of America, of the existing system. Now, the existing system has corrupted itself. Trump is a great example of the existing system at its best, despite all of his flaws, both personal and in his business. But his way of fixing the problem is for America and therefore the Western world to return to a time where it was number one. And that hopefully can lead us to a new era. But from my own perspective, it's a temporary solution because our opposition will survive his term. They will. Even if they're badly damaged, even if all the institutions they've infested are just wiped out by a MAGA 2.0 administration. So he is a temporary solution to a very big problem, and it buys us more time. And the more time we have, the more time we can highlight problems, find solutions, be the change we want to see. That's the key.
Well said, sir. What I am hoping is that because of all of he has had to overcome all of the smear campaign, destruction of his character, the opposition, the lies, everything that he has had to overcome, I hope he comes out like Dragonstorm energy. And when he gets, you know what I mean? Like when he gets into office, he's like, all right, I'm telling all the liars. I'm exposing them all. I'm dropping all the, the ducats. You're going to get the Epstein list. You're going to get the JFK files.
What does he have to lose? He was nearly killed, for goodness sake. Coyle, I think you were going to say something. Please speak your piece.
Yeah, I got two thoughts because one of them is that the opposition, the way to solve that's a consciousness thing. We have to elevate our consciousness and embrace righteousness. We have to recognize it as the vibration it is and always push back against it. The second thing is before we leave the Leonardo topic, I want to remind everybody that Leonardo Dicaprio, fucking Johnny Depp, Corey Haim, the other Corey, Corey Feldman. They were all child actors in the same era. They started off as child actors, and by and large, a lot of them were molested by Hollywood moguls before they were given an opportunity to, and a lot of times these sort of psychological disturbances, they don't just happen. It's usually survivors of abuse that go on to perpetrate. Now, I'm not saying that Leonardo did or didn't do anything. That's going to be for the court of public opinion. But I want to point out that a lot of the people operating in this era, and I would even count Puffy in that age group, they came up in specific sectors of entertainment where these things were the norm. And even if it was like, gross or all that kind of shit, but it was understood.
It was the peak of the It was the peak of the empire of lies. I mean, just after the end of the Cold War, the hyperpower years, America was literally untouchable for a decade, folks, between 1991 and 2001. So it was the peak of the existing system after the wipeout, and it was a wipeout of the Soviet Union. So from that perspective, it's understandable that the system was doing shady things behind closed doors, and barely anyone knew about it. If they did, they would get sent to the loony bin. So what we're seeing is this long struggle to expose an empire of lies so that it goes the same way that the Soviet Union did. Because the Soviet Union had a pathological system, not a narcissistic system. And if you criticized it, you were dead, or you suffered a fate worse than death. There was none of these smear campaigns, cancel culture bullshit. They just bash your door down because it's not your door, take you from your home because it's not your home, and then shoot you, and it's not your bullet. So there you go.
Yeah.
So there.
There's real famous things about Stalin killing his friends and then like photoshopping them out or film editing them out of public photographs. So it's like, who was that guy? He was never there. Yeah.
Right. I know that Ryan has to leave out in 5 minutes, so I wanted to hit this one last segment and get his thoughts on it. This comes from X. So apparently there was a medical emergency that took place while this group of abortion doctors were on stage. And we're going to see the reaction of these medical professionals for Kamala when someone is having a medical emergency in at the rally. Oh, it's not going to play?
Necessarily becoming ill and dying. Nationwide, I think someone needs some medical assistance over here.
Get down there.
Right. They don't even know what to do. They don't even know what to do.
Now, I'm in one of two minds about this situation, folks. On one hand, they could all just be fake and just be paid professional actors pretending to be doctors. On the other hand, remember how our opposition operates. They operate as a collective. They operate with a collective instinct. They all reacted the same way. Notice that in a collective manner. If they were ordered to go down there and help that person, they would have all helped that person with all of their effort and gusto. That's the great advantage of collectivism, as long as your command structure is on point. That's why when the Soviet Union had effective leadership, guess what? It was a fucking effective union. And when it had bloody, but effective. But when it had incompetent leadership, it fucking collapsed. So there's one of two possible scenarios. Coyle, what do you make of this situation?
Well, okay, so you guys, I'm reminded of this old commercial from the 80s where an actor gets in front of the camera and he goes, "I'm not a doctor, but I do play one on TV." And so that's I was getting paid actor vibes off of this too. You can dress anybody with a conservative haircut into a white schmuck and then sell them as a doctor.
It's diverse too, if you notice.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah. You know, that young man is actually a young woman and vice versa.
I do know why they hosted this in Houston, Texas, because Beyonce didn't want to fly to a swing state. But Texas is not in play, folks. Florida is not in play. Go to places where things are either in play or, you know, they're a bit more likely. You know, toss-ups and leans. That's where you want to go. That's why I'd recommend Trump visit the Rust Belt, of course, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Trip to New Hampshire would be fine. Trip to North Carolina would be fine. Trip to Georgia would be fine. Trip to Arizona and Nevada. I can never say Nevada. I always say Nirvana. And those states, maybe New Mexico, but he doesn't have a lot of time, folks. He could probably do 9 rallies in 10 days. He's that kind of guy. He did a 3-hour show with Joe Rogan, and then he went to Michigan. And where's Joe Rogan based? Texas. So he can do it. He can. There's still time.
Just one more thing, Ryan, and then I'll let you go. So I'd like to give an example of the people who attend, including one of the organizers at this last rally, how they act toward children when they're not aborting them.
This is disgusting.
Black girl said, "Back the fuck up."
Black win right there, folks. Damn.
Yes. These are the Kamala supporters out here yelling at a child because they don't know what to do with the kid.
If I was that baby's father, I would pick her up and knock that other bitch the fuck out.
He's a male feminist.
Well, yeah, Coyle, you know how weaponized weakness works. Strength is weakness. Weakness is strength. That's how the Empire of Lies operates.
Right.
They taunt
He picks up that kid.
You.
He's like, "You're such a cock blocker."
I was very surprised when I first saw it. Good on the middle-aged black female for calling out this woke white woman, and talk about be better and don't shout at children. In fact, children shouldn't be part of political discourse or the internet or social media or content creation. I don't like the fact that people who are not adults, who can't be responsible for themselves, are on the internet. If you're going to say something, stand by it. If you're going to do something, stand by it. I mean, what we saw at the beginning of the show with Camel Toe Harris prosecuting parents for the actions of their children. Of course, they're responsible for their children, but the in-between of being home to school and staying in school, kiddo, it's the school's job to facilitate the transportation. At least in my part of the world it is, for the most part. And it's all about balance, but that's a topic for another show. I personally believe we don't need a 19th century educational system in the 21st century because we have the power of the internet to educate young people, but the establishment doesn't fully control it, which means they don't really operate it. Thank you very much for having me, Stephen, and it was
Always
great to see you for the first, well, not literally see you, Coil. I have seen you. You look a bit like Wolverine mixed with Sabretooth, but it was good to talk to you. In less than an hour, I will be on the... there he is. He looks just like a perfect mix of the two. But I will be on Hypnotic Saturday Night Hypnosis. For some reason, it's called the 113th episode, despite it being the 114th. So I will make it clear that it is the 114th, my 84th appearance in a row. I'm sure we'll have a great time, and I'll relax and not speak as much because I don't want a coughing fit killing everyone's ears. You can check me out. You can check me out over at Ryan Roger Athe, host and founder of Reality Based. We're getting close to 3,000 subscribers. Everyone is welcome on Reality Based, no matter how black, female, crippled, or Jewish you are. So stick around, watch this show, and have a great day. Bye for now.
See you later, Ryan. Guys, please go check if you guys enjoyed Ryan Roger Athe. Please subscribe to Reality Based and go check out he will be on Hypnotic's panel. If you enjoy entertainment and political commentary, please go check out that show. I appreciate
him for making an appearance and lending his British accent the credibility that this type of show deserves.
Dig that. Geez, Coil. All right, so let's take a look at. We're not going to watch this whole clip, but I think it's a very important contrast between what we see from the Democrats and what we're seeing from President Trump. So let's take a look at this, sir. Oh, man.
So this past June, Alexis is 12 years old. Precious angel, as you say, Jocelyn. We all called her that. We feel we know Jocelyn, and she's had a big impact. Alexis, you know that, right? She's had a big impact. Walked to a nearby convenience store. Jocelyn was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted, and I'm not going any further than that. I'm standing with the mother, and horrible things happened to her, to that young beautiful girl. And the animals arrested for Jocelyn's barbaric murder are 2 illegal aliens believed to be members of the savage Venezuelan prison gang known as Agua. And they're all over the place now. They're all over our country. They were in Aurora, but Aurora is now the least of it. They've taken over buildings in Aurora. The government, a radical left Democrat, weak person, doesn't know quite what to do. He's always got a big mouth when he talks about other things, but he has no idea what to do. And they have weapons of military grade. You say, how did they get those weapons? These monsters were in Border Patrol custody, but under a program Kamala Harris created to abolish detention for fighting-aged men, whatever that means, and give them free and automatic entry into the United States. The killers were released into our country, and Alexis, we cannot begin to imagine your pain. And if you'd like to say a few words, would you like to? Would you? Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
I want to thank everybody for Donald Trump, really, for the opportunity to be able to say my daughter's story. I know everybody knows somebody that was like her. She was 12. She was going to be a 7th grader, preteens. They think they're invincible. And she was just being a child. And due to the Biden-Harris policies we have here are why she's not here anymore. She was taken from her vulnerability, and they made her a target and ran with that. And now I will forever be a grieving mother, and my son will forever be a grieving brother.
These are the issues when we have an unsecured border, when we have politicians who do not care about you. They only want to look good on paper. They only want to sow chaos and destruction.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Claude.
Well, and I was hoping that, maybe you'll contrast this with some footage of Harris.
Someone tried to break into my. Someone just tried to break into my Instagram.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Your TikTok's under assault. Now they're trying to break into my social medias.
Yeah. Wow. I actually, before broadcast, I was checking my TikTok, you guys, and I don't say anything controversial. I'm saying like things like believe in yourself and get out there and be somebody. And every single one of my videos was mass flagged for violating community guidelines. So flying monkeys are real.
The flying monkeys are real. Yeah. The smear campaigners were coming after me, and now they're going after Immortal Coil because I did not stop. And I did not listen to their lies, and my platforms have been growing, and so now they're going after my friends. This is what narcissists do. This is what psychopaths do. This is how they act. Just got a notification that to reset my password. Password for Instagram. Guys, these narcs out here are real.
But
going back
to address the point of the video. Harris has been repeatedly questioned about her border policy and the fact that killers and of both humans and pets have been allowed into the country under her policy. And she always wants to go back to Donald Trump's presidency and the wall and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, bitch, you've been in office for almost 4 years. Why haven't you done anything? Trump can't do anything right now. He's a fucking private citizen until he gets elected again. And she's just dancing around the question or changing the subject or bringing up other things and just giving non-answers. Again, the Joe Rogan podcast, he talks about how most politicians seem like they're reading a script, which they are. They have teleprompters and shit. Whereas Trump fires off the cuff. You can really tell the difference between the two types of speakers.
You can tell the difference between someone who speaks authentically and a person who's full of shit.
Absolutely. And they tell on themselves.
They tell on themselves, right? And the only people who back up those types, the people who back up the Democrats, they're full of, they're sick in the head. They're sick in the head. Anyone who supports the naked men, dancing around in a parade in front of your kids, you're sick in the head. These are mental illnesses, and the progressives have been pushing mental illnesses for many, many years. This is what psychos, sick people do. They want to pass on pain. They want to pass on their illnesses and their sicknesses. That's why they harass, gaslight, stalk. That's why they do all the things they do. And a lot of those sick people, like we were talking about what happened with the Haitian, the explosion in Springfield, Ohio. You take a bunch of people that are low vibrational, and I'm not saying it's even their fault. They're in a systemic system of trauma and abuse. But you take a group of those people and you put them in an American, in an atmosphere, an American atmosphere, which is semi-healthy at this point. And what do? Well, they're out there lopping off the heads of geese and eating your freaking pets. This is what they do. This is how they survive. They're traumatized. They don't care. They're going to stop you in a grocery store and they're going to bully you. They're going to cram up into your house, take it over, because that's what they do. That's what they've been trained to do from being traumatized. This is why we have to really take into stock what's going on at the border. The people who run our political system at this time are sick in the head. They're cluster Bs. liars, abusers, fakes, snakes. And when you have people like that running any group or institution, their job is to pass on pain. Yes. Do they care what happened to this mother? Do they care what happened to that family? No, they don't care about what happened to them. They just know that trauma happened. They know that abuse happened, that trafficking happened, that there was an assault. You know what they're doing? I guarantee you they're sitting back there with some baby oil lathering up their F-sticks.
Yeah. You know, and that's very close to the 2 points that I wanted to point out is, number one, these people were let into the country because they're promised economic benefits as long as they vote a certain way. But there's also, if we're talking about, and I want to get savage for a second here, if we're talking about low vibrational entities who worship fear, terror, SA, murder, and particularly child sacrifice. I mean, come on, they're sitting there with baby oil, just like you're saying, lubing themselves up and relishing in chaos in the dark.
Relishing in this is what they do. Just like the people trying, like, and honestly, like, I mean, just to take it back for a second, the people that are probably watching this cast right now and hate the fact that we're talking about these things are probably the same ones trying to break into my Instagram, my social medias right now to create alerts, to try and create chaos while I am strong, while I am giving a message, while I am not being sequestered by their smear campaigns. All right. And that would be Narcopath and her crew. That would be Rat Wolf and his crew. You have to stand true in the face of low vibrational, full of shit, abusive people. Stand tall in the face of it. The same reason why after January 6th, which was orchestrated to look the way that it did, when it was people simply protesting an election that had a lot of serious wackadoo going on in 2020. They had to take that fact and frame it in such a way as to make Trump and Trump supporters look a certain way. That is what narcissists do. So now let's move on. Let's move on to the super empath. Let's move on to the President Trump. And he was recently on the Joe Rogan Experience, guys. Please go check out Joe Rogan's YouTube channel, whatever platform he is on, and give support to him. And check out this Joe Rogan podcast for yourself. We're just going to show a couple clips from it. I want to give a shout out to Wes Moody Webcast. Guys, please follow him on X, and I think he's on Rumble now. He was such a hot take type. Did not kneel, did not care. A true Rogue alumni, and did not kneel to the system, lost several of his channels because he refused to be sequestered. He spoke out. He spoke. He spoke facts. He spoke his heart. And during a time when a lot of us were getting shadow banned and our channels taken for doing so. So please go check out Wes Moody. He's also a fellow survivor and thriver from narcissistic abuse. Let's check out this clip right here. Immortal Coil, are you ready?
Go for it, bud.
Let's go.
So I always got more publicity than other people, and it wasn't like I was trying. In fact, I don't know exactly why. Maybe you can tell me why.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. You said a lot of wild shit.
Maybe.
Maybe he said a lot of wild shit, and then CNN, in all their brilliance, by highlighting your wild shit, made you much more popular.
Yeah.
And they boost you in the polls because people were tired of someone talking in this bullshit pre-prepared politician lingo. And even if they didn't agree with you, they at least knew whoever that guy is, that's him. That's really him. Yeah. When you see certain people talk, certain people in the public eye, you don't know who they are. You have no idea who they are. It's very difficult to know. You see them in conversations. They have these pre-planned answers. They say everything. It's very rehearsed. You never get to the meat of it.
And again, like, that's the point of authenticity, right? Like, you can tell politicians are full of shit because it's all scripted. They've all got the bullshit lines prepared. It's narcissists, man. And the value of being authentic and speaking from the heart, that's what Trump does. That's why he is such an enemy. That's why the narcs can't stand him. That's why the psychos can't stand him. They're all employing gaslighting and smear campaigning and confabulation. When you have a person, right, wrong, or indifferent, who speaks from the heart, who is authentic in his presentation, that is a threat to liars, fakes, and snakes.
Absolutely, it is. You remember that scene from Team America, World Police, where Alec Baldwin is sitting there at the pulpit, and Kim Jong-il's like, "Do something, Alec Baldwin," and he's like, "The corporation, the media, and he's just like spitting out these talking points that have nothing to do with what they're actually, because dude's like secretly trying to blow up the world. And yes, it's ridiculous, but it's trying to point something out. It's exactly what Joe Rogan is saying. A lot of these people, they're carbon copies. They work from the same script where they're going to say one thing but do the opposite. And everything that they are trying to do, they're going to try to project onto their political opponents.
It's the same. I mean, taken energetically, bro, it's the same demon spirit. It's the same reason why narcissists all act in the same damn ways and do the same routines and the same scripts. It's the same reason why when Narcopath came at me recently, I was just like, well, one of Narcopath's friends who camouflaged herself as someone who didn't know her to get involved in my life in order to create more drama. And I like when that whole week was going down, I'm like, all right, step one, I already know what you're doing. Step two, all right, now you're live streaming with her. As I knew all these steps before they were, when you are connected to that low vibrational demon spirit, they're dumb. They're not smart. They all act in the same scripts. That's why politicians say the same shit. It's why they get up on these debates and they all sound alike, even just different points of view, because they're all the same. They're cut from the same demonic cloth. And they don't like Trump, whether you liked what was coming out of his mouth or his history or whatever it is. But he speaks from the hip. He speaks from the heart. He doesn't censor or silence himself. And the demon spirit, darkness, low vibrational people can't handle that. You got to be a part of the system. You have to be a part of the hive mind. And he was not a member of the hive mind, which is why the world freaked out after 2016 and went into like a super smear campaign.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I like how you pointed out earlier that you're not a Republican. You're very much a liberal, but in the classic sense.
I'm a classic liberal, yeah.
But the fact that Trump is he talks about this in a different part of the podcast. I don't know if you have a clip from that, but he's like, listen, for a long time I was a Democrat, and sometime in the 90s I noticed that shit got weird, and I had to change. But so he's kind of like an independent disguised as a Republican, and I think that's what pisses them off. He's not like the typical John McCain, Mitt Romney, fucking George Bush kind of Republican, which are neocons more or less. He cares about our fucking country, about the Constitution, about the economy.
I don't know about y'all, but like I was doing very well off during those years. One of the things that really shifted my opinion wasn't just watching how the world ganged up, wasn't watching a sitting U.S. president have to fight the FBI, wasn't watching all the politicians left and right bugging out, freaking out and about Trump. It wasn't the worldwide smear campaign. It wasn't all of the people who created this cult of personality where if you didn't have your mask on and you didn't put your pronouns in your bio and you didn't Me Too and you didn't be a male feminist, then you were a red hat flag waving patriotic piece of shit. The framing that happened around Trump is really what woke me up to liking the guy. And it wasn't just that. It was the fact that I could pay my bills. I could buy food.
One single adult by themselves could pay for their own housing. Yeah.
Can you imagine that? And then what happened with the coof? What happened with the coof? The coof came in and everything fell apart. And all of a sudden we got a batshit fucking Epstein Island junkie in the White House. And supposedly, allegedly. I don't understand. I don't understand. Evil is evil. Birds of a feather flock together, y'all. All right? It's okay. I mean, it's really, and it's just notice that you could notice the difference in my panels over the last freaking 4 or 5 months. A couple people are doing their own thing right now, but the word's getting out. Walton sees you. It birds of a feather. If you hang out with a group of shitty people, you are a part of that group. If you are complicit in child trafficking, if you're complicit in lying and smear campaigning and destroying someone, you are a part of that group.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Participating in group consciousness is the same as being the source of it.
It's
Realize
exactly.
who you stand the fuck next to. Absolutely.
And it can even be worse than that. If you are a person who, like you didn't stay after 1 o'clock when the kids were brought in at P Diddy's place. Yeah. You knew when to leave because you knew what was happening, and you were still partying with those people. You are complicit.
Yep.
You're still there. It don't matter. Like I'll call it out all day long with these freaking asshole YouTubers out here that on their collectivism and their freaking hive mind and how they will isolate people. I'm not talking shit or smearing bullshit. You're on that same panel hanging out with the same people. You can't be somebody saying I'm hanging out with this one and this one and they don't start shit when everybody knows they do and saying you're not a part of it. You absolutely are.
Man, I want to hear Walk by Pantera so bad right now.
Oh, bro, it is a whole new era for Steve Walton, y'all. You want to see some shit fired off? I'm back. I got my strength again. I got my power. I know who I am. I walked through hell. I crawled out of hell. I crawled through it with these YouTubers and these fake friends and these fake asses. I'm coming back up, guns blazing. You want to see some shit? Pay attention to Dragonstorm. We're gonna have fun the next few months. What's up, Jacob? Good to see you. Yeah, tell it, bro. The hell trans fat. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
Let's go.
All right.
One of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball. Like you get out and you do these huge events, and you're just talking and you're making. We've highlighted you on the show many times when you did this Biden impression where he's walking around, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand up. It's funny stuff. But it's like you and you're making fun of Elon one time. You're doing an Elon impression. It's great. You have like comedic instincts. Like when you said to Hillary, you'd be in jail. Like that's great timing.
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like no one had done that. And I think
it's funny. You need at least the attitude of a comedian when you're doing this business. It's a very dangerous business. So it's a very tough business. When
it's the most dangerous business.
It's the most, well, for a job.
Yes. I mean, other than going to war and being a firefighter or being a cop.
Yeah.
It's the most dangerous business.
It's the most dangerous. Being president is the most dangerous.
Especially you. I mean, you haven't even got to the election. There's been 2 assassination attempts. And they've brushed those out of the news like it was nothing.
Yeah, they'd rather.
Isn't that crazy, though, Coyle? They did, didn't they? Didn't they?
That's a fact. As soon as the next news cycle happened, they just kind of threw the magic carpet on top of it. The only people who are talking about it are, frankly, his supporters, which there are a lot more of them than they counted on.
But you see the monkeys in the mainstream media, like they just don't even. Yeah. It ain't nothing. That's last week's news. Now we're gonna talk about Beyonce being at the Kamala rally. We're gonna talk about Leo. We're gonna talk about these evil people that are supporting an evil candidate.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Something else he pointed out that I think was kind of understated but should be underscored is that you have to have a sense of humor to deal with this kind of stuff. Because I mean, anybody else could have just gotten paranoid and hid under a rock and all that stuff. But no, man, he's like joking and loose and swinging, just like Joe Rogan was saying.
What else are you gonna do? What else can you do? You know what I mean? Like you've got to. It's when you're dealing with these types, you have to act. You got to act 24/7 like nothing bothers you. You have to. They could be out there lying about you, trying to dig up dirt, trying to manufacture dirt. Coming at you from every direction they possibly can to destroy you, to make you unstable, to traumatize you. Like the Trump's going through that on a world scale, a world stage. Well, I went through it just with YouTubers and shit. Now I'm going through it with Instagram and TikTokers. Like, what the hell? Fuck all these motherfuckers. Right. Like, I understand the struggle, but he's dealing with the real psychopaths that run these institutions.
Yeah, but it's the same thinking, the same methodology, the same implementation of the plan. Whether it's a mass flagging campaign or a community violation of guidelines, or a 5.56 NATO round. You know, it's all the same thing. For whatever reason, whatever's being said, whatever's been representing and being stood up for in the platform terrifies these motherfuckers.
It terrifies them. It is all about control. If they do, and it can even be a perceived loss of control. They have to protect their fragile fifis, their false ego, their false face, their demonic nature. They have to protect these things. They have to protect their lies. Their lies have to be the truth. They have to feel like they have control. And the way that these types of evil people maintain control is by passing on pain, traumatizing others, trying to instill fear, trying to create instability and trauma. That is what they do. And so
perception through trauma. You said it.
Dark, exactly, man. Exactly. Dark psychology all day long with these types. Let's continue on. Oh, wrong tab.
Then I talk about them.
Imagine if there was assassination attempts on Biden, how hard people would be attacking the right, how they would be trying to get guns taken away from people. They would try to ramp up gun laws. They would try to figure out some way to blame you. If there was attacks on, if Biden got shot in the ear, we would have never heard the end of it.
But
and simple truth of it, we would have never heard the end of it. Would we, Coil? Oh God! No. If somebody came at Harris,
no, man. Oh yeah. You know, everybody would be a racist and homophobe. Well, maybe not. I'm thinking of it. But the simple the simple truth of the matter, and I think that this is interesting too. In the week before Trump's appearance on Joe Rogan, suddenly it was like, oh, Kamala Harris is going to be on Joe Rogan too. I'm like, okay, that'd be interesting. Is she actually going to answer questions and show up? And then, you know, whatever the day of or the day before, she's like, yeah, there was a scheduling conflict. Can no longer appear on Joe Rogan. And you know what it is, man. Joe Rogan's too real. He's just going to ask fucking questions and let her hang herself. And whatever her handlers were thinking, they're like, no, she can't. It's not a controlled environment. And Joe Rogan's not going to fucking play those games. He doesn't need to. He's got 30 million subscribers, something like that. Biggest YouTuber. I mean, PewDiePie might be bigger than him, but you know what? At least in our age.
Yeah. Dig it. So this one more clip I wanted to show, and this was the one that was actually passed on to me by Wes Moody, guys. Please check out Wes Moody, my brother out there. Let's take a look at this.
They called me. They said, sir, would rather have you not. And I did open them. But I was asked by some people not to open them. There's a Martin Luther King file too, by the way, that deadline. I don't know if you know, but there is that. But JFK in particular. So they called me. A lot of good people called me. People that that you would find reasonable people.
Oh, of course it did. Of course it
Where's
did.
your premium subscription, Walton? Come on.
I ain't paid it.
It's all good.
Suckers. Free ads.
Asked me not to do it. So I said, well, we'll close it for another time. But if I win, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to open enough.
Why didn't you open it up the first time?
Because a lot of times,
what was the hesitation? Though?
Addresses, people that are still living. There are people that are affected. And there could be some national security reason that that I don't have to necessarily know about, but some very good, talented people asked me not to do it. I opened it up, and then they said, would it be possible for us to do that a different day?
How much of it did you read into?
I think it's going to be just fine to open it. Let me put it that way. I think it's fine. It's going to be time.
Look at how, dude, that's a damn good presidential answer, in my opinion, right? Like, he knows, but he said, he had to deflect that question. He knows what he's sitting on. I am looking forward to, finding out what we all know about the JFK assassination and the different parties that work together to assassinate our own president. I am also looking forward to anything else. Martin Luther King file, feed us. Epstein list, feed us. Can we please have someone in the White House And I think he's going to do it, especially after everything he's been through. Can we please have somebody in the White House who is going to give us facts for once instead of bullshit?
Well, and historically in politics, man, the second term of the U.S. president, he has nothing to fucking lose. He can release all that shit because he can't run again. So hey, you know. But I also believe, like, from a savage perspective, this represents, like you're saying, a fundamental mentality, like a spiritual warfare between the forces of light and forces of darkness, and we're pushing hard. All right.
No, well, dude, everything you're saying, I just want to, don't be a spanner. He's brought up in the, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to go back. We're going to go back to the end and take a look at a couple of the comments that you've made, guys. Appreciate you. And he says, didn't Trump open some files on the UFOs? Wasn't he big on the Space Force? That's the way I look at it.
So that's the thing. And I talked about this on Savage last time. You guys should check that show out. It's 11 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Eastern tonight with Steven. But essentially, you have Trump, who creates Space Force, the first branch of the military created in 85 years. And when I first saw it, I was like, Space Force? What the fuck? That sounds like a movie. And then I looked at the logo, and it's kind of like the Star Trek logo, like had a baby with the Pontiac logo. And I'm like, okay, I kind of see what he's doing there. And then Elon Musk, he uses his Bruce Wayne money to go fly in outer space for fun. Did you guys see that thing where his rocket came right back to where it launched and just like, yeah, that was intelligent. So you get these two guys together, and I firmly believe Elon's in contact at some point, even if it's just energetic. But you get these two guys who are able to place a terrestrial fleet into service, and Trump has said he's going to work with Elon when he gets elected. So I don't think any of that's coincidence. I think that's strategy. Both of those men are very strategic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wanted to go back and just touch on one or two things. What's up, Carmen? Thank you so much for being here. Naked Man running into a parade. Cluster B abuser. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, dude. I mean, like I said, male narcs throw things up their ass all the time. That's what they do. They love it. And these narcopaths are out here shoving it in there for them. If you are,
dude.
Exactly. There's probably a couple out there right now watching Walton with a finger up their ass going, I hate this guy. I have two-part verification on all my platforms, guys. I'm getting the notifications, but thank you so much for trying to break into my socials. But yeah, if you see a domestic abuser, an SA abuser, any of those types, narcissistic at best. That's what these demons do. They're disgusting, they're despicable, they're evil, and if they're self-aware, they're even worse. Logic's Finest is my point. Logic's Finest said Leonardo Dicaprio was the government key witness in a case versus a foreign national selling access to U.S. politicians and Obama, using, among other things, Hollywood actors, including DiCaprio, and no one covered it. Well, I mean, you can't expose the system. You can't expose the system. The system protects itself. Of course, they're not going to talk about it. My point is that the media covers what they want, selling access to politicians, and a sitting president should have been the only story of 2023. And DiCaprio testified for immunity. They're all plugged in to each other's back holes. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, more or less, and this isn't true in every instance, but in the vast majority of them, unless they're original content creators, they're bought and paid for. They are selling perception. They're trying to tell you, not that you can think, but here's what you should think.
They're con men. Logic's Finest also says people want to believe what they're told. That's why the media is so powerful. It's also why narcissists are so powerful and destructive. Narcissists are the ultimate con men. Absolutely. I try to tell Narcopath that several times during the last couple of Hoovers. You're a con man. No, I'm not. Yeah, you're a con man. That's what you con people. You lie to people. And unfortunately, we have a system that is built to cover each other's backs. You want to see how, listen, narcissists are completely selfish. The only thing that a narcissist will be, the only time a narcissist will not be as selfish as normal is when they work together in a group. It's when they come together and have to protect the horde, have to protect the demon itself. That is, you'll see the cluster bees clustering together in order to protect any narrative, smear campaign, lie, or deception that benefits them. That is why you see that. That is why they come together. That's why the media covers for the con men. That's why the politicians cover for the purse strings. And it's why nobody knew. Nobody knew. All these famous people, all these actors, all these politicians hanging out at P Diddy parties. Nobody knew they were trafficking and raping kids.
Right.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
On
the
the target of these smear campaigns, when these people get together, they're like some sort of weird like anti-celebrity. It's like they're celebrated for being hated. You know, it's that level of obsession. And the fact that you have that many people targeting you, Steven, goddamn, your words must be dangerous.
Oh, goddamn, I'm scary, bro. I must be a very powerful motherfucker for all these haters. I love it. Oh, my Lord. I didn't know I meant so much. Tina says that, what's up? Hail, there be rogues here, Tina. Good to see you, baby. The Space Force's Delta logo was first used in 1961. I didn't know that. But Spanner was bringing up a question about, did he open UFO files? And then he started talking about Space Force. I think so. I think he did. Yeah. Absolutely did. Horty Alf is in the chat. Oh, shit. What's up, man? Hail to the Legion. Hail, Horty Alf. It is literally years later, and I still haven't watched Reacher. And I forgot about that until you showed up in the chat. What's up, bro? Good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Reacher is a great fucking show.
I've been told.
It's just the kind of masculine thing that we've been wanting and that we haven't been getting. It's on season 4 at the moment.
I know. I see ads for it. I pay for Paramount Plus because for Star Trek. And I see it all the time. And one day, Horny Alf, I'm gonna start watching it, and I will message you. I promise. Tulsa King is great too. I've heard that too.
Yeah, Tulsa's great. Let me give you some incentive. Reacher is kind of like Dave Carradine, but he's like a special forces guy, and he just goes from town to town, and he's kind of like Walker. He just fucks up bad guys. But there is a hot little blonde Steve that at some point you get a nude.
You get a nude scene. Does she have blue eyes and a lot of daddy issues or generational trauma? Because that's a big thing for me.
Her dad actually died and left her a pistol. Now here's the other thing. There's no.
I'm already turned on.
This one. There's no gay genes in the show.
No gay genies. All right, that's gonna be great. I'm already turned on. All right, if she's blonde, blue eyes, and a head case, I'm down. So, I actually been watching Babylon 5. I love that. Great writing, guys. If you have not watched Babylon 5, you will love it from the first episode. It is so well written, so well put together. The first 4 seasons are, which it has 5 seasons, but the first, they had to rush the ending because they thought they were getting canceled. And that is a show that was made on a very stringent budget, and it is excellent, man. I forgot how much I love Marcus the Ranger. I'm going geek right now. I'm sorry, but so that was like, everything went lighthearted at the end. Like all the happy people came in the chat. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
It's good to have the higher energies. All this shit's deadly serious, like the president was saying, but you got to combat it with laughter. We got to point out that the night is darkest before dawn. Right? It's an old adage for sure.
Yes, Spanner, I watched Lex. Yes, I did. Like, dude, and look, hot sci-fi bitches, I'm all about it. All right. I don't know. I have no idea why I'm attracted to selfish, deranged women, and maybe it's because they look like sci-fi bitches. I don't know. That might be it.
Now, I watched Alita Battle Angel, and I started wondering, like, is she fully functional? I think everything.
I loved Alita Battle Angel, and that's as far as I'm going with that. I love that movie. It was a great movie. When Trump opens UFO files to the public, we'll see Coyle's name.
Hey, Elon, if you're listening, when you're ready to go up there, buddy, I will introduce you to some people. Let's say that.
Papa says they all gave Trump shit for Space Force, but did they shut it down with all the other things? No, it's because it was always running. Logic says, I loved Reacher, but the lead actor was full woke, attack Trump, attack guns, supports men and women's sports, and loves the cackler. Oh, really?
You're going to have to not read his social media, but I mean, the portrayal, just watch the portrayal.
Like John Hertzler, right? Like I love him.
Well, it's kind of like it's kind of like Liam Neeson, you know? Yeah.
Oh, I'm not. No, don't shut up. Shut up. I don't want to know. Because General Martok is my favorite. One is my favorite character, my favorite Klingon.
DS9.
Yeah, but and he told Orville Nation. Thank God for PJ. He had me on a show where we got to interview him, and I got to talk to him, and I was so excited. Now listen, this is the measure of John. I love John. John talked about science fiction. He talked about his roles. He talked about his acting. He talked about. I'm freezing on camera. He talked about a lot of amazing things. Did not bring up politics or social issues. And when we asked if we could follow him on Facebook, the first thing he did was say, "If you follow my Facebook, that's where I'm political." You know, so like that is to me that's a measure of a decent man. He understands he's there with fans. He's there for all fans.
Yeah.
And then but his Facebook is his Facebook. That's where he puts his opinions out. Yeah. And he even gave us a heads up. Hey, I'm a raging progressive on Facebook, right? You know what I mean? But over here, I love everybody because thank you for supporting me. And
good pause.
I would rather have that. All right, so we're about to end out the show. I thought I'd have a larger panel for this segment, but it's just Coyle and I. So we're going to round this out with, since Samhain is next week, or Halloween for everyone else. And Immortal Coyle, what is your favorite Halloween, Samhain, or horror movie?
That's a good.
You don't have to say the favorite. Like you can say a couple.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people forget that E.T. is a Halloween movie. You know?
Why it had to be E.T.?
He runs into Master Yoda. Yeah.
All right.
It's not scary though. Yeah. I have to do that. I have to keep up.
If you were going to go, listen, if you were going to go Alien, I would have said, listen, Life Force, Matilda May, the most beautifully naked bitch for that movie. Oh my God, she was hot.
You remember Species?
My spank bank. Yes.
Yeah.
Species. Thank you, Natasha.
Yes. Hair. Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh man. And that's like one of those things. They were like, yeah, you know, the female kills the male right after meeting. It's death by snoo. Come on.
Yeah, I've you know what? I'm attracted to those types of blondes, so I'm glad that I never met that one.
Oh man.
It's because those were alien issues. That's well beyond what I can handle. I just like narcissistic, borderline type crazy issues. But no, Matilda May, Life Force, dude. Like, you ever seen Life Force, the space vampires?
No, that's something I'm gonna have to check out.
Yeah. Okay, that was my favorite movie to find on Cinemax late at night or HBO when I was a kid. Because this chick was naked throughout the whole thing and had the most perfect body. Body.
You know,
the story itself was really cool.
It was weird. I was semi-attracted to Gozer the Gozerian whenever the first Ghostbusters came out. I was kind of like, man, if you look past those bubbles, you can kind of see a nipple.
You know, I'm gonna agree with that because I have a thing for evil women. Yeah, me too.
Let's not forget Ray got a BJ from a ghost. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say okay. Sweeney Todd is one of my favorites of all time.
That's a good one. Absolutely.
Oh God, man, I used to know every song. And The Nightmare Before Christmas. I am such a Nightmare Before Christmas guy.
Sure, dude. My kid my niece and nephew really, really.
But when it came to horror, like for me, like around Halloween, nothing for me tops the very first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah,
that movie.
Heather Lakenkamp, she could get it. She could.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Talking my language, Quill. Yeah.
Shit.
No, but that movie scared the shit out of me because I'm a I can dream walk. So I know how to. I have since an early age. I've had intense dreams. I have walked in dreams. I've controlled dreams. So the whole idea of the boogeyman, coming to get you in your dreams is was terrifying to me as a kid. Before I even knew what dream walking was, before I even knew what any of these terms were, you know what I mean? I was just, doing it as a kid. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand what I was doing. I was just doing it. And I thought everybody did it. I thought everybody controlled their dreams. I thought everybody could do that.
Well, and from a psychological perspective, you're the most vulnerable either when you're asleep or when you're taking a shit, and that's why Critters was such a fucked up movie. we're all
Critters, yeah.
Oh man, jumping out of the toilet and just fucking you up. No thanks. I'll pass.
Okay. What about this? All right, my Troll. What about Troll?
Ooh,
have you seen that?
Troll
one?
is yeah. I know just what you mean, dude. And I kept on trying to think Samhain, to me it's like piercing the veil kind of stuff. Like everything's the veil is thinnest at midnight kind of stuff. But then I just start thinking about, and it's not like a horror movie, but like The Crow.
The Crow, absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like
it is a Halloween
revenge
movie.
Flick. Yeah.
It's not a Halloween. It's a Devil's Night movie, which is the night
Devil's
before.
Night. There you
know
go.
what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. The Crow. Papa Cotton
watched. Oh, go ahead.
Well, Papa Cotton was calling me out on musicals. Yeah, buddy. And you better fucking believe I went to the Midnight Horror Picture Show when I was a teenager, and I did have fishnets. Oh, your mother effing right. I went as Frankenfurter one. Yeah, you damn right I did. I'm Steve Walton. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. What were you saying, bro?
Oh, I lost the thought, but I actually saw "Don't Be a Spanner" said "snoo snoo" right above the one right there. So, hail death by snoo snoo. Should we all be so lucky to go that way? Hail.
Oh, he sent me Samhain. Oh, he sent me a few things. Okay, hold on. There's a few pictures here. Hold on, Jesus. Hold on. First off, I have to share this one since we went in the gutter for the last part of the show. Yeah. You see, understand this, parrot head. Understand this. If that woman had blonde hair, blue eyes, and severe lack of self-worth, which apparently she does from the stats, along with some cluster B personality traits, I would have found my wifey. I would have found, until I died. So thank you very much for that one. I appreciate that. Hold on. I gotta bring it down. I don't want to, all my freaking tags. Oh yes, this is great. Check this out. Yeah, that about says it.
Yep.
That about says it. Very good. Thank you, brother. It's what it is. Yeah, their whole it's supporting bullshit. It's all about supporting bullshit. Oh wait. Okay, and Samhain. Thank you.
Yeah.
Look at that. Thank you so much. Yep. Yeah, it's pumpkin spice in America. Absolutely. The white women are out there going crazy right now. And Immortal Coil, I just want to say that after my last roundabout of injecting Walton DNA into every orifice of a crazy person, that I may take a break from white women. It may be time.
Yeah.
If I can find a black girl with blonde highlights and blue eyes, then I'm doing it. That's where I'm at, I think.
Yeah.
I think I may have. Yeah, I'm thinking that might have to happen.
Okay, go for it. I believe in Taste the Rainbow. Yeah, I still haven't picked off the Asian menu, but I'm open to it.
I was lucky enough when I got a half Korean, half Japanese girl. God, I was 17. She was 20, 21, somewhere around there. She was around 20. And she was full metal. I'm talking when I met her, she had a red, vest top with like corded. Or like the fucking black velvet pants with a motherfucking Danzig belt buckle. When I tell you that the metalhead in me banged this Asian as well as I possibly could at 17. That's what went down.
I gave her the best night of my life.
That's right, bro. That's right, bro. Oh man. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate the silliness, hanging around for the silliness at the end. There will be shows in the future with Sage and the Savage. Tonight we're gonna be on Mortal Coil's channel for Savage Spirituality. What do we do? What do we talk about tonight, Mr. Savage?
Well, we're gonna be talking about timelines. I put this really stupid Marvel image because I know everybody's familiar with it as the thumbnail. But essentially, we're going to be talking about what time means to the spirit, like its function in our incarnational journey. We're going to talk about different timelines as a result of free will. We're also going to be talking about how certain timelines on a mass scale have been braided down into a specific trajectory going forward. And we're also going to address the mentality. So, all right. It's going to be tonight, 11 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Eastern. Walton will be right there with me, and get fucking savage.
Yeah, man, we're going to have a lot of fun. I want to say thank you to everyone for being here today. Greatly appreciate you. For those of you on Dragonstorm, I can thank you so much for taking the chance of checking out Rogue Entertainment and the direction that this show in particular on this channel is taking. It began as a narcissistic abuse recovery and awareness. It began as me protecting my name from fucking idiots out there who were just talking shit 24/7. And then it became something that really is passionate to me, which is helping other survivors and thrivers who have been through consistent harassment, smear campaigning, stalking, hoovering, the whole nine. Into becoming a coach, which has been something I've really enjoyed as a person. Really helping others, not just making videos, but having one-on-one conversations with people and being there as a kind heart and an ear to listen and giving the best advice I possibly can. And I thank every single person that has entrusted their lives and the things they have been through with me. It's been a hell of an honor. And I appreciate you guys moving forward. I am bringing more Walton into this channel, which is why the show has taken the direction it has. And y'all are going to see some shit. There are plans in the works. The Trainwreck Express is going to come rolling through. There are other things, other shows. There are other events that are going to be taking place in the near future that have been well planned out, kept hush-hush because you don't want too many people to know your plans. But you're going to see a lot of growth. And thank you guys for being here with me on this ride. It's kind of an evolution of Dragonstorm. And I appreciate you so very much. I am Lodonis, Raven Wolf Dragonstorm, you seer and sage. Hail to my fellow survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse. Please remember to wash your hands, wash your ass. Be good to each other, yet suffer no fools. My love to y'all.